Hello viewers, welcome to our daily news and following are today's headlines.
Party, state and government leaders pay tribute to heroic martyrs. President Trương Tấn Sang wraps up 3-day official visit to the United States. Vietnam-Japan Joint Initiative fifth phase focuses on improving Vietnam's investment environment.
Vietnam's top leaders on July 27 laid a wreath and offered incense at the Monument of Heroes and Martyrs in Hanoi on the occasion of the 66th anniversary of Vietnam's War Invalids and Martyrs Day.
Present at the event were General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam Nguyễn Phú Trọng, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng, National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng, and Chairman of the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee Huỳnh Đàm, among others. Later, they also paid tribute to late President Ho Chi Minh at his mausoleum. The same day, delegations from ministries, departments, and municipal authorities also paid their homage at the monuments and mausoleum. On the occasion, a series of activities have been held at home and abroad to commemorate the heroic sacrifice of war invalids and martyrs. In Phnom Penh, staff of the Vietnamese embassy and media agencies, together with Vietnamese expatriates in Cambodia, on July 27th, offered incense and flowers at a monument dedicated to Vietnamese volunteer soldiers who laid down their lives during the war in the country. Earlier on July 26th, Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc attended a ceremony to light 5,000 candles in the Martyrs Cemetery in Điện Bàn District, a central province of Quảng Nam. Many localities across the nation, including Lào Cai, Lạng Sơn, Quảng Ngãi, Ninh Thuận, An Giang, and Bến Tre provinces have spent billions of dong presenting gifts as well as building and repairing houses for families of war heroes.
President Trương Tấn Sang and his entourage left New York on July 26th, wrapping up their 3-day official visit to the U.S. at the invitation of President Barack Obama.
Earlier on the same day, the Vietnamese leader met with United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon in New York. He said Vietnam attaches importance to the United Nations' increasing role in the country's foreign policy, the guidelines of active and proactive international integration, being a constructive and responsible member of the global community. President Sang affirmed that Vietnam is determined to keep working closely with the United Nations in the new phase of development, in a move to fulfill the Millennium Development Goals. He said Vietnam hopes the United Nations will bring into full play its significant role in maintaining peace and stability in the region and the world at large. For his part, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon spoke highly of the achievements Vietnam has recorded in socio-economic development and maintenance of political stability. He also praised the country's active role in the ASEAN community and hailed its decisions to engage in the United Nations peacekeeping operations. Also in New York, on July 25th, President Sang delivered a speech at the Center of Strategic and International Studies, highlighting the Vietnam-U.S. relationship in a dynamic and prosperous Asia-Pacific. Talking to Vietnamese and U.S. war veterans, President Sang hailed the leading role of American ex-servicemen in healing the wounds left by the war, as well as actively contributing to the enhancement of the friendship and cooperation between the two nations. At the meeting with Vietnamese expatriates, he praised their efforts and contributions, hoping that they will continue serving as a bridge for bilateral relations to flourish.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng has stated that Vietnam treasures and wishes to further intensify cooperation with Indonesia in various spheres, especially defense, an important mainstay in their bilateral strategic partnership.
Receiving visiting Commander-in-Chief of the Indonesian military, Admiral August Suhartono, in Hanoi on July 26th, The Prime Minister suggested the two defense ministries actively launch cooperative activities reached in the past, enhance exchanges between the two navies, and cement links in personnel training, defense technology, and joint sea patrols. Switching to the East Sea issue, Prime Minister Dũng stressed that peace, stability, maritime safety, and freedom are the common aspirations of all ASEAN member nations and relevant parties. Suhartono vowed that Indonesia will do all it can to deepen defense cooperation with Vietnam in practical and effective approach. He said he hopes the government of Vietnam will always back cooperation between the two armies.
In a move to make Vietnam's investment environment more open and transparent, the fifth phase of the Vietnam-Japan joint initiative is underway between now and December 2014.
At a high-level meeting convened by the Vietnam-Japan Joint Initiative Committee in Hanoi on July the 26th, Minister of Planning and Investment Wu Quang-Vinh said, the initiative is among important information channels that engage both Japanese and Vietnamese businesses in policy making. Japanese Ambassador Tanizaki Yasuaki said the two sides will exert every effort to realize the commitments reached in the past. The initiative covers 13 groups of issues like taxation, customs, intellectual property, infrastructure development, and food safety. In the fourth phase, 286 out of 337 items met schedule.
During the anti-U.S. war, trains of cargo lorries driven by female soldiers rushed on the battlefields. Though nearly 40 years has passed, memories of sitting behind the wheel remain vivid in their minds. Let's now meet some of the women on the occasion of the Vietnam's War Invalids and Martyrs Day.
Like other Vietnamese peers in 1965, these women volunteered for military service along the legendary Trường Sơn Trail. Not until fighting turned fierce in 1968 did High Command Battalion 995 decide to recruit 40 women for driving training. After 45 days of preparation, they were able to handle large lorries in the midst of violent bombings. Today, they still keep in touch with each other and gather together in national festivals. At that time, my army unit was unique. All trucks carrying soldiers and field guns were driven by our female fellows. Each of them now has a different fate. 5 passed away, 7 are war invalids, 2 lead a solitary life, and 7 remained. Some are even grandmothers. In recognition of their contributions, the Vietnam's Women Museum dedicated a space to display memorabilia that these women treasured during the glorious days. We were greatly moved to meet those who once drove along the Trường Sơn Trail 40 years ago. It makes us extremely proud to know that they braved dangerous roads without knowing if they could come back. We think that apart from displaying these objects, it is necessary to assist them in their lives and hold practical activities to educate young generations on traditional ethics. Every December 18th, they get together and rekindle memories of a victorious past. The Trường Sơn Trail, a legendary route which goes down in Vietnamese history as a major part of revolutionary heroism, is forever imprinted in footprints of heroic women drivers.
And that comes to the end of our news today. Thank you for joining us and see you next time.